in. I can put you in. And I can put you in. I can put you in.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
What's going on? How y'all doing out there? Welcome to the Big Head Light Skin Comedian Podcast. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate you looking at this podcast tonight. I'm down here at the Borough Room 21st here at 1481 South Shelby Street here in Louisville, Kentucky. Thank you for tuning in. And they got some things going on down here tonight. They got the Rock for Cozair for the children. $10 a ticket. It's a charitable type of concert showcase. So y'all come down here and support that. Now, with that said, too, I got a great podcast for you all tonight. But before I get into that, let me go over one or two quick sponsors. You heard the first sponsors. The first sponsor was Borough Room 21st. They allowed this big old head to come here and do this podcast every second Saturday of the month. And give it up for the Smile Center here, 745 LaGrange Road. My dentist keep my teeth tight. Even though I got one missing, I'm still working on getting that replaced. Also, too, let me go over this. Make sure you subscribe to my podcast, BHLC podcast on YouTube. Subscribe. Also, make sure you listening to my podcast. I'm on #Anchor. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Google Podcasts. I'm on Radio Public. I'm on Pocket Cast. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook too. So make sure you go to any of them streams and listen to my podcast because I always got great guests and I'm talking about great things and some things to help you out. Now, one more thing here too. One or two more things. This is National Suicide Awareness Month, and we need to make sure we check up on our people that sometimes they might be going through something. If you got a friend or somebody you know that's going through something, check up on them, make sure they're all right or whatever. You'd be surprised how much a text and a hug can do. And if nothing else, if you really need help, hit this number up here, 1-800-273-8255. That's the National Suicide Awareness Prevention number there. This is National Suicide Awareness Month. And we need to make sure we help each other with that because that is a big thing. And I was also doing some homework on that, and I didn't know this, but the main age range for National Suicide Month is the age 10 to 34 years old. 10-year-olds 30 to 34 years old. That's big, ain't it? So make sure you call or text somebody and make sure they're all right. Now, the thing about my podcast is no right or wrong. We're just expressing an opinion about who we are and everything. So don't get all twisted and tied up about what we're talking about. All right. So now, with further ado, let me bring in my guest here. I'm very excited to have her on my podcast. Yes, I got a comedian, and she is very funny. And I cannot wait to have her on this podcast. I'm so glad that she's joining me on this podcast tonight. And we're going to have some fun here, just talking about everyday life stuff in a comical way. All right. So without further ado, and make sure I pronounce her name right, because if I don't, I'm sure she'll let me know. That's what queens do. Okay. So y'all give it up for my comedian friend, Alicia Coley. Okay. If I pronounced it right. I pronounced it right?
Yes, you said it right.
Yeah, I must have, because you laughing on it.
You said it like you was reading all the letters in the last name.
It was like I was in the first grade. You know, in the first grade, they make you pronunciate. I was like, ooh, ah, ooh.
That's exactly what you did. You was like, C is the sound like and then you O.
Right.
All right. You got it right though. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm just glad for having you. Definitely, I'm happy to have you. This is why I work on my podcast first and foremost. I let people tell a little bit about themselves, the resume or whatever. Tell the people a little bit about yourself on this platform so they know who they listen to and what you're about and everything. So give them just a little bit of resume about yourself, because I couldn't do it because I'll be here all day because I know your resume is long. So
well, I'm trying to have my hands in everything. So, you only get one life, so you got to try to live it as full as you can, and mine is very full, and I'm appreciative of that. So I started out with acting, actually. I still got love for the stage, as you can see, but with acting, for me, doing plays and stuff like that in independent films, I just wasn't getting out there as much as I would have liked to, but I've always been silly. So I was like, let me take a comedy class, because people would tell me like, Alicia, you're saying stuff about stuff that ain't even supposed to be funny. this shit is funny. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I was telling my girlfriends about a funeral that I went to, and the stuff wasn't working. They was having technical difficulties, and I was like, she about to jump out this casket and kill everybody so they could be with her, because this is
Right.
crazy, you know. So they was laughing at that, and I'm like, I'm not really even trying to be funny. So I said, you know what, let me see what the art and the craft is behind the comedy scene,
Right.
or the comedy world, and do that. So I've been doing comedy for over 15 years. I've also I have a photo booth business, the 360 photo booth business, that's called Five Photos, FYEFOTOS.
Okay.
I also have an Italian ice business that's called
I see that.
Swallows.
Like
And
that.
it's amazing.
Mhm.
And I feel like I'm forgetting something. I'm pretty sure. Oh, I work my regular 9 to 5 too, because that's where my health insurance is. I tell people, don't
Right.
quit your regular job, because don't listen to nobody.
I'm
People
with you
have
on
you
that.
out here slaving and living in a box like you homeless. Talking about some, quit your regular job. You ain't no real comedian if you don't quit your regular job. I said, well, nigga, I ain't real then. And you ain't tell me if I could cuss or not. Can I?
Well, say, yeah, you can cuss. You can, hey, be yourself. That's the thing about my podcast. Let me say this: be yourself. You can
Okay,
cuss, do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Be
cool.
yourself.
Because
My
I was like,
podcast is
listen, I'm
wide
not
open.
going to be homeless.
Yeah. There's no filter on this podcast. Let me just say it. The filter went out the
Okay,
window when we started. So yeah,
got you.
but see, and that's beautiful because I started. We kind of got the same path a little bit because before I started doing stand up, I started doing acting first, and right now, I've been in probably I got about 5 or 7 movies I've been in. You know, not to be bragging, but they ain't no big name movies. But one of them is not a big name movie, but it's one of the national underground movies called The Maintenance Men, produced by a
Mm-hmm.
good friend of mine, Streetway Production. But I started off in acting a long time ago, and I just caught the bug of acting. I love acting, so acting was my first bug, and then came to stand up. So I feel you on that. I'm right there with
Yeah.
you on that, and I'm still trying to. I probably need to get back into that because I'm doing between doing this podcast and doing stand up. Somewhere in the line, I need to put some acting in it, but it's kind of hard because I wear so many hats. Being a father and a husband, comedian, and actor, it's hard. And actors like fourth, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and you should get back into it. First of all, I would like to get back into it like I used to be into it. I really, people would ask me, well, do you like the plays or do you like the movies better? Like, which one do you like better? And I'm like, you know what? I have respect for both of
Hmm.
them.
Okay.
However, I think I like the movie thing better because
Right.
you're not trying to, of course, you're learning your script, but
Right.
you learn it, you put it out there, and then you go to the next thing. Whereas though your plays, you have to keep running it every weekend or however they want to, whenever they want to put the
Yeah.
production up, you got to keep running it, which is great because it's still a check. But um I would prefer a movie, hit it and quit it, and keep my time open, my options open, you know, keep my
Right.
stuff open.
Yeah. And you're right because when I first got into plays here at the Macaulay Theater here in Louisville, Kentucky, a long time ago, I'll
Mm,
never forget. Like yesterday, it was always repetition, but it's a lot of practice versus when you're an actor doing a movie, you just, you got a lot of different scenes. You keep doing takes till you get it right. But
right.
when you're doing plays, you have a lot of practice and it's repetition. You know what I'm saying there. And it's really time consuming. So you have to really devote a lot of time to, not so you don't devote time to acting, being an actor in a movie, but it's a different entity on both of them versus a play
Yeah.
versus being an actor, because we did a lot of different plays like Black Jesus Christ Superstar, different things like that back in the days I did. And it was just a lot of repetition, practice here. We
Yep.
practiced
You
4 or
gotta
5
go to
times a week.
rehearsal. Then
Rehearsal,
after
there it
rehearsal,
is.
you gotta go to tech week. Then after that,
Right.
you
Yep.
gotta they blocking everything. Like, this is blocked, so ain't nothing changing about this. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, so this is nice, but yeah.
And learn and
But
knowing
I
the
would do it
lingo
again.
too. Yeah, do it because knowing the language and the lingo when doing plays versus acting, there's different languages too between plays and the acting. There's different language and acronyms and stuff that people don't
Right.
know that you have to go through, and you know what I'm saying there. So, and but it's just a thing where if you have the love for it, you got the love for it. Matter of fact, I just talked to a friend of mine here this evening before I started this, and was telling him we was just talking about stand-up comedians. I said, and a lot of stand-up comedians today. I said, it's one thing to be a stand-up comedian. It's another if you do it from the heart. If you do it from the heart and you really love it and you keep writing, if you really do something from the heart, it'll fall into
Mm.
place and you'll find out who you are. But there are some stand-up comedians that just doing it to be doing it. And that's the difference. You got
Right.
to do it from the heart. And of course you will get paid, of course. I get understand it. But if you just starting out, you definitely got to be doing it from the heart. Because like I told him just now, I've been doing this game since '94. Yeah, now of course I get paid for do it, but I've always done it from the heart since '94. And I continue to. I will continue to do it to the day I die because I love doing it. I love making people laugh, go home, making their soul feel good. You
Yeah.
know, same way with acting in a movie. They see me in a movie. I've had people come to me and look, man, you was in that movie. And yeah, that was me. And they said, man, you were funny. Great. I'm glad you laughed. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I stay humble too. So, but that's big. And a lot of people don't, you know, they always taking a different direction. But so with that.
Yeah, and I think like the beauty of one being on the stage and then two being on the stage and doing comedy, it's for me, it's therapy. It's therapeutic work. Like,
Yes.
you know, I
Yes.
could be having a bad day or somebody else in the audience could be having that same bad day. Of course, different situations. But when they come
Right.
out there and they come out there to laugh, you know, they can kind of relinquish all of that and get that up off them for at least an hour or whatever, however long the show is, you know.
Right.
And I think that's just one of the beauties of comedy, you know,
Yeah.
putting it out there for people to see what you're really going through. Like, oh, okay, this is relative to what my experience is in this world, and this is funny, you know.
Yeah, and you're right because and people got to remember too as comedians, and it's different now being a stand-up comedian because ever since the Will Smith, Chris Rock thing, it's a little different. And you know, yeah, I had to go there. It's a little different. But what they said, because I had a comedian, well, not a comedian, but just a person, a fan said to me, I think they said to me on the stage, what if somebody smacked you, Big Head, like, what would you do? I said, I smacked the shit out of him right back.
That's right.
I said, don't get it twisted. I said, I'm a comedian, but I'm a man first. And I
That's
did
right.
come from rough Port of Louisville, so don't get it twisted. So
Don't let the light skin fool you.
That's right. That's exactly what I told him. I said, yeah, don't let it fool you now. I would mess you up like Wesley Snipes in the daggone New Jack City movie. Don't let it fool you. I don't like you pretty
right.
like it's anyway. But anyway, but I just know that, you know, we human beings first and foremost. And they got to remember that. You're on stage, you see some light, we make you laugh, it's all great. But we are human beings first and foremost. So I tell people all the time. So just make sure you respect the art of comedy and don't be doing all that crazy stuff to comedians on stage, you know, because people, they will try you. They will try. And it depends on what they're setting you in too. So, and you got to make sure your security's tight too, wherever you're at. Like I was telling them on stage, I said, my security, man, all you got to do is throw a daggone rib sandwich or rib tip done to him. And he'll have to make a decision before he come on stage to help me out. He'd be like, do I eat this rib tip done or do I help love and sandwich?
Right.
I said, he likes to eat. So he had to make a decision. Right. I said, so I got to get me somebody that don't like to eat. So, but yeah.
And you know what? People have asked like, how would I have reacted if somebody came on my stage and tried to hit me, smack me, or whatever? First of all, let me just tell you this again. Don't let the cute face fool you in this instance. Like, I'll fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I have to protect myself, I definitely will. Which a lot of my comedy bros, I had put that on Facebook. A lot of my comedy brothers was like, "Yo, you ain't even going to have to fight. You don't even have to worry about under that. We got you or whatever." But I understand that. But some of y'all might not be fast enough, and I don't know what y'all skill is on the grass, on the ground, on the street. Nothing. I don't know what y'all concrete skills are. So I know I'm gonna protect myself. You know. So first and foremost, I got to get back home to these kids, and I'm gonna fight you. You know, man, woman. I fight kids. That's what I fight them too.
You know what? I probably would hit a kid if I could get away with it, but they say, you know, it's just like, and I said, well, that's like, here's one of my questions to you. I'm gonna put it. Well, I ain't gonna put it on here because I got some other questions. But what did you think of the future of comedy? As far as, you know, with everything that's going on with stand-up comedy, what does the future look like for stand-up comedy right now in your eyes?
In my eyes, I just really feel like the comedy world is being watered down a lot,
right?
Because everybody think that they can do comedy. It's like nobody sits back and they don't think about like I said, the craft, the artwork. It's almost disrespectful. It's almost like a smack in the face, because you when you're a real comedian, you sit down, you try to write out your stuff. You write out your thoughts, you go back and forth about what's funny to you, what you think the crowd is going to love or whatever. And then you might see some people get up there and disrespect the stand-up craft of comedy, you know, because everybody, like I said, you're telling jokes up on the stage, but everybody thinks it's easy. I can do this. And it's like, yeah, you really can't. You really can't.
No.
So the future of it, what I hope happens is that people really start to understand the business of comedy. But what I feel like is happening is that we're losing the stand-up craft of comedy, because we have the internet comedians that go viral, and then they're not true stand-up comedians, which I don't have a problem with that, because
You got a
people
good
be like, well,
point.
how you feel about
Right.
internet comedians? I
Right.
don't have an issue with internet comedians. I just
Mhm.
want them to have their own lane if that's what they're going to do. And
Right.
if they're going to do stand-up, go through the trenches of being a stand-up comedian.
Right. And you're right. And that's the difference between now and probably 20 years ago, when I first started doing comedy, I had to go through the trenches of. I even had people throw bottles at me. I'm gonna go and put it out there. That's when I went through the trenches, but
Wow.
it made me who I am today.
Yeah.
I went right back up and got on that stage the following week. You understand what I'm saying? So, but a lot of these comedians, like you said, the internet has got them thinking they comedians. And I ain't got nothing against internet comedians. There's some very funny guys in internet comedians. But I will say this: stand up is definitely a lot of people doing stand up comedy shows on the internet, which that's what direction it's going in because of what we're going through. And it's kind of leading into this next thing I want to talk about, because the pandemic has done that. How has the pandemic, as far as COVID and all that, changed your view of things on with comedy?
Um, well, I feel like the pandemic gave us a lot of material.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
too.
the pandemic definitely helped with different premises and different topics. Of course, the premise is COVID and the pandemic, but I feel like you got to know yourself during the pandemic, because a lot of people didn't come outside. So it's like,
Right.
now what I'm going to talk about. I sat in this house for these 2 years or however long. I learned who I was as a person. What's the funny part about that?
Right.
What did I learn about myself? But as far as like comedy, I think the pandemic, I think it hurt comedy. You know what I mean? I think it hurt a lot of industries for sure. But I think it hurt comedy because people came out with new inventions. And if you noticed with the pandemic, a lot of people searched within themselves to find out what they really could do to try to get money if their jobs had stopped or whatever. Some of that stuff was they thought they could do comedy. And it was
Right.
like, nah, bruh,
Nah, you
go
know
back to
what?
work.
Say it ain't working out. And you're right, because I know when the pandemic stopped, this is when this podcast started. And for me, it put me farther in the trenches. It made me do a lot more thinking and writing. And that's when my podcast started.
Hmm.
And but with that said, some people, some comedians, let me just say that some comedians, or even actors, you had to really, really go. It tested your willpower as a comedian, as an actor, where you
Hmm.
had to do something different, go in a different lane to keep it going. So it helped some people in some breath, and some it didn't, because some fell to the side because they couldn't adapt, especially when we come out of this pandemic,
Right.
which we have a little bit. But I tell everybody, COVID ain't went nowhere. It's just marinating like chicken on Sunday with your grandmother cook. It ain't went nowhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I tell people, so they went nowhere, but it's still around, but it ain't as heavy as it was when it first hit. And now we understand the ins and outs of it a lot better, between that and getting vaccine shots and all that. But with that said, the pandemic has made I think a lot of entertainment stronger and
Yeah.
better. Some and some not. Some have fell to the side. And it's also made us where we don't really feel each other as much, as far as giving that love, as entertainers to each other, whatever. Now it's just a little different. I'm a type of person that, and a lot of people tell you here in Louisville, I put a lot of different people's comedy shows on my page. I know some people like, why you, I had one guy say, man, that's a great thing you do. And I had some people like, why do you do that? I said, man, because I stay humble. I said, it's not always about you. You got to take you out the equation. I said, I do that because I'm always trying to help a fellow comedian or comedian be
Hmm.
better and help her out on her progress with her shows doing that. I said, if I always just thought about myself, which I said, don't get me wrong, I still write, I still do what I got to do. It would be
Right.
kind of selfish to me. So that's just me. I said, I know everybody's different. Everybody's personality is different. I get that. But it's just me, So, because I always try to help other people and stuff. So, hey, how you doing? I got an OG here, just waved at me. I'm talking about, he
Yeah.
got a head on. He's OG. Anyway, so, but with that said, okay. I just know, I just know I don't mind helping my fellow comedians, especially, and that's why I want to get into it. Let me get into this one real quick, because I definitely want your opinion on this, because you being a
And
comedian.
you see my page. I love
Oh,
helping comedians. One of the
yeah.
things that I said I wanted to do was make sure that if I threw shows in the Atlanta
Uh-huh.
area, I wanted to make sure that everybody got paid. That was one
Right.
of the things that when I moved down here from Philly, I was like, how are you guys getting paid? There's so many comedians on the
Okay.
flyer, or so many comedians that's going up on this stage.
Right.
Um, where the money at? You know, and
Yeah.
people were
Yeah.
just
You're
really
right.
working for chicken wings and fries. Say it
And see,
again.
that's what you're right though, because see, here's the big woman in the business. When I say business, I'm saying the comedian industry. As being a comedian, Do you feel like sometimes you don't get as treated as like the male comedians? Because I was talking to somebody about that on my podcast a couple of months ago, and she said I do. She said, but there's times when I have been mistreated, lovers, and she told me different instances. But let me just say this real quick: is how I feel. I treat you as a comedian, not as a female comedian, not as a male comedian. I treat you as a comedian. You treat
Yeah.
me right, guess what? I'm gonna treat you right, Alicia. Okay, that's just where I am. I don't look at you being by your sex. I look at you as being an artist, a comedian. Now, how you
Yeah.
feel about that?
I don't feel like we're mistreated like as individuals. Like I don't feel like I don't know what word I'm looking for, but I don't think
Okay.
it's a mistreatment. I think it's more so maybe a lack of respect because your male counterparts might feel like, oh, you're not as funny because you're not a man in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of female comedians that rock with a lot of these male comedians, and they can go joke for joke with a lot of the guys in the industry. So um I feel like there's a turnover of female comedians and they're getting their just dues or whatever, or just desserts, and they're coming up. We're rising up. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a matter of staying in it. That's all we can do. We got to stay in it.
Yeah, I love a lot of female comedians because there are a lot of funny female comedians out there. Even though I hate to put the word for the female, I know they're females, but they just funny. And I
Yeah.
was telling on a story one time where this one female comedian who was out doing the show and she was getting paid less than this other male comedians. And I thought that was unfair. So I
Mhm.
did say something to the guy who was putting it on. I said, man, look here. I said, I'm gonna do this show. I said, but it's probably the last show I do for you. He said, why is that? I said, because I don't like how you treated that comedian. He said, who you talking about? And I said the female comedian's name. He said, oh, well, she's a female. His first thing he said, she's a female. I said, you're wrong though. I
Wow.
said, because if pay her what she's worth. If she's worth X amount of dollars, you pay her that. Don't pay
Yeah.
her because she's a female. So, and I ain't gonna put no names out there, but I'm just
And
saying.
that's
So I
fine.
don't, I don't
I
play
don't
that.
want
I
you
don't play
to.
that. You know what I'm saying? Huh? What'd you
I said
say?
you don't have to put no names out there. It's all good.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I just don't play that, because that could be as well. I got a daughter and a son. That could be my daughter, and you're gonna treat her like that? No, we got a
Right.
problem, bro. We got a problem. If she's funny, she's funny. If he's funny,
Hmm.
he's funny. That's all there is to it. There is no, with this and that. No, 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 no. Funny's funny. That's what I've always looked at, and I always say that. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's just where. How do you feel about this? Is gonna really shock you. What we put up. And I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it because I know how people judge people, but I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it. I don't know if you know about it. The Tiffany Haddish Air Experience video. I don't know if you know about it. Have you heard about it? I'm gonna
So
use
I
it
talked
on
about this
stage.
because I have a podcast as well. And I
Okay.
talked about this on our podcast
Okay.
last week, well, Wednesday. And
Okay.
sometimes a joke can go too far. But my
Yes.
understanding is that they were trying to say, now I haven't watched the complete video, so I'm speaking, I guess, from an ignorant, you know, knowledge or whatever. But because I haven't watched the full thing. But at the last part of the video, what I'm hearing is that they were trying to show what it would be like as a child through a pedophile's eyes or something like that. And I'm
Yes.
like, I get the message that they were trying to convey. However, some things are still distasteful. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you're a comedian and you're trying to make something that is a harsh act be funny. It better be
Mhm.
damn funny. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
Because that was not funny at all.
No, and that's the biggest thing for me. You said it right. It wasn't really funny. And that's why I watched the whole thing sick as it was. But let me just say that there's blue comedy and there's black eye comedy. And that was black eye. And because you put a child in a position, whether it's acting, it's one thing put a child in a position acting and do it as long as it's positive, but you put that child in a bad light,
Right.
so and it wasn't funny, like you said.
Right.
So you don't do
And
that,
so
man.
and I go back to the parent of the child too, because it's like
Yeah,
you knew what was going on. You let your child go ahead and do something like that, and then you're trying to sue or whatever years later. And that's why people have to be so careful about what they put on the internet
that's
and what
right.
they sign up for and stuff like that, because you never know when it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. And my whole thing with that is like, as a parent, I would never put my child in that predicament, you know?
Right.
I don't need no fame and fortune. And I'm pretty sure at that particular moment, Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish ain't had the money that they got right now to pay me to put my child in something like that. Y'all must be crazy.
Right. I believe, I almost remember, I remember when that video first came out, it was some years ago. And I'm like, I looked at it, I ain't think nothing about it. And then here it pops up all of a sudden. And let me just say this for what it's worth. As far as you said about the mother tried to say she didn't know it was going to be that graphic. That's at least what she said. that she didn't know it was going to be that graphic. And I'm thinking to myself, you had to know something like it was going to come down. And also, let me just say this: as comedians, you got, like you said, you got to remember the internet's big. What you put out there comes back to you. And if that's something you don't want to come back to, especially after you sit there and look at it, don't put it out there, because that can affect your career and everything. And right now, but let me say, this is what I wanted to say. I heard that, I think it was Ari Spears that had got into it with Lizzo, the rapper. He was throwing some harsh words at her and somebody else. And then all of a sudden, this video comes in.
Yeah.
See where
I
I'm
did
going
hear
with
that
this?
too.
Yeah.
I
See
don't
where I'm
know if
going
that's
with this?
just coincidence.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah. So watch what you
yeah,
listen.
when you mess with people, sometimes that's your karma,
And there it is. Yeah. And that's why I
and
say,
then he's always been a comedian that's in the news or very vocal about certain things, and sometimes we agree with him, sometimes we don't. My whole thing is, dude, like, why are you gonna get notoriety off of dumb shit?
right.
You too big. Like, you're too big for that. To me,
Right.
your talent, and because to me, he's funny. Some people were like, no,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not
He
funny.
is.
But when he get into them in impersonations, like,
Right.
he's a genius.
He is.
So
They,
why do
they
all that?
both they both funny. I know some people only think Tiffany Haddish. I think both of them funny, and this is why I tell people everybody got different comedy styles. Just because I don't like it, don't mean some other thousand people ain't gonna like you. So that's why I tell people everybody got their own comedy style. They both funny, but
Mhm.
there's a line you draw, and that went past the line with a video. And like you said, it can always come back to you. It's karma. So that's something that. Oh, it just messed me up. So, and I've noticed though we haven't heard from neither one of them. So I guess eventually you're gonna have to come out from the dark.
I
And
think
say
he
so. Have you heard
responded
anything?
with something though, didn't he?
Who's that? Ari Spears?
I think he did respond with something. I
Oh,
haven't,
did he?
like, when I saw the
Okay,
video, I didn't watch anything else that had to do with, and like I said, I only saw that little snippet. But
right.
I saw him talking about, well, maybe he didn't. Maybe I'm thinking about what you're saying as
Okay.
far as him coming out as the Lizzo, and it was before, and then so maybe he
Yeah.
didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I'm
I'm
sure they will.
curious.
Me too. I'm sure they will at the right moment, the right time. I'm sure that
Right.
biz agent will tell them, "Hey, man, you might need to chill out here for a minute. We have to pick the right moment for this one to come out and talk about this." You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
But eventually, you can only run. You can run so much, but you can't hide. At the end of the day, you still got to come out. So,
right.
and as dark as it is, and that was very dark, and I mean very dark. So, let me hit you with this one here because we all got family. So, how does your family feel about your comedy? You know what I'm saying?
Um,
I mean, because and I get I get some jokes from family too. I ain't gonna even lie to you, I do.
I
I
mean, it
get some.
depends. Like, my dad he's a clown. So, like, I think I get most of my comic energy from
Okay.
him. Um, my mom likes to laugh, so she just makes me feel good about the stuff that I do. And my sister as well. Like, they really do support what I do as far as my comedy, and so does my children. Like,
Right.
my family, when I have a show, I'll go back home to Philly. They show up, which is amazing.
Great. That's
And I'll be
great.
like, I wonder if they know sometimes these might be some of the same jokes that I told before, but they laugh. But I'll
Right.
add, I add to
I
my
get
stuff
it.
or whatever. I don't tell the same exact things, but hell,
Right.
I ain't making the TV to tell none of these jokes. I said I'm gonna tell these jokes until I make it to TV.
That's
But
right.
I'm gonna add to it.
That's right. Hey,
But
listen.
some people, I know a couple of vets in the game that been doing this for a while and still telling the same jokes. I said, so why
Yep.
should I change?
Yep.
They've been
That's
doing it and they've been getting paid from it.
That's right. You are right on, and that's why I wanted to ask you. I know you were talking about Philly and where you at now in Georgia or whatever. What made you make the change from Philly to Georgia? Because that is a big move.
I
You
came
went from
down here for
Philly.
other reasons other than comedy, but I will
Okay.
say when I got down here, the comedy scene, it was scary. Um,
Because it wasn't like Philly was it. I bet it was because Philly is a big city. I know that I got
Philly
relatives.
is a big city, but our comedy scene wasn't like Atlanta. We
I get
had
that.
a certain few comedians like the Two Rays and B Flat and
Right.
like Ken Jones. Ken Jones was just coming up, like Stiletto.
Right.
And Stiletto, I believe she's not even from Philly. She might be from Delaware, but she worked the Philly circuit a lot. So whereas though she was known in Philly, like,
Right.
so but we had a Dark Child, she's another female comedian. Like, it was plenty funny people in Philly. It's just
Right.
that the comedy shows were few and far between in Philly. So it wasn't like we could go out every day like it is in Atlanta and you like, oh, they got a comedy show here. Oh, pull up.
Yeah.
I mean, from Sunday to Sunday, there's a comedy show in Atlanta. or anywhere you can go and go up and run your material to see if you know, want to keep it just to get your reps in.
Right.
So the comedy scene, I will say, down here has made me a stronger comedian. It gave me more
Right.
confidence to get on stages.
Right.
But it just, you know, Atlanta is just different. It
It
makes
is.
you a stronger comedian, you know?
It is.
It's like, you going to swim or you going to sink? What you going to do? You getting in? And I'm
Right.
like, yeah, I'm gonna get in. I'm getting in. I'm in here. So
Yeah, because Atlanta's like California South is what I call it. I call it California
yeah,
South. It is what it is. Matter of fact, I got a friend now that texted me earlier, said he was on his way to Atlanta to do some comedy. It is. It's just, and he's from Louisville. You know what I'm saying? So
mm,
it's just, you know, California South. But it is. There's a lot of opportunities in Atlanta. I get that. You know, I've been out of California, been in Atlanta. I was looking at your page. I see you've worked with some comedians I've worked with in the past. I've worked with Hope Flood. I've worked with Michael Collier. I've worked with a lot of them comedians. You know, I've even featured for Lavelle Crawford. But with that said, I'm not too long. It's not about who I work with. It's all about, like you said, getting in work and getting yourself out there. You know what I'm saying? So that's more important than anything. You know,
yeah,
and you're in the spot in Atlanta. You're right. You're in the spot where you can. Because a lot of people in Atlanta are doing some nice things, big things, and even with TV, you know, I know Tyler Perry's thing studios there. You know, I get it. So I understand that, and that was so I understand your movement a little better. You know, even for whatever reason it was, but that was a good movement because there are a lot of good things happening in Atlanta right now. So, and
hmm
and it's a lot of funny comedians in Atlanta. A lot of funny
lots,
comedians.
lots.
There's a lot
And
of
like I
people
said,
tell
it's
me
just
to.
the scene down here is so amazing in Atlanta. Like I'm proud of the comedy scene in Atlanta for real. And I know that I didn't have anything to do with the startup of it, but I'm glad I have a little bit of a footprint in it, you
Right.
know, because like I said, although we have the Maurice Sims, you know, the promoter here, that has like the Atlanta area locked down with the rooms and stuff.
Okay.
I'm on a Gwinnett side, so I'll stay on a Gwinnett side with my rooms and book people out there so that, you know, these people out here that don't want to travel from Gwinnett area, they can come to my rooms, you know.
Right.
And then, you
Yeah.
know, me and Maurice, we talk sometimes, so it could be a thing where we might, you know, go, well, who you got this week?
Yeah.
Okay, who you got? I got this. You know, so we can talk, and maybe we can split, you know, some of the
Yeah.
comedian, the breakdown, you know. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and you have to, you know, and that's good. You got a room because a lot of comedians travel, like I said, down to Atlanta. If you got a room and they need the opportunity, it's there, and that's great. That's all comedians looking for is a mic with a room. That's what they're looking
yep,
for. It's not about how many people's in the audience. It's about they need to put their work in. You know, especially comedians that are first starting out. You know, so they want to put their work in, which is more important than anything. So that's why I tell people. So here's one for you, real quick. Here, I would have hit you with. Some people don't know. Some of the people don't know about you. Let them know on my platform. Some of the people don't know about you because I know it's something out there that they want to know about Alicia that they don't know. They might want to know. So, what is it?
wow. This is, I don't know. I think the closer the people are to me, they know this, but I don't even know if, being my age, I should be saying, like, still calling it this, but I am, although 5'3"
Okay.
and petite or
Uh-oh.
whatever, I'm still not a girly girl. Like, people don't know. Like, they'll look at me and be like, "Oh, no, I'm not a girly girl. Like, I am
Right.
such a tomboy. Like, I will get out there, try to shoot basketball, try to, like, I just was around the corner. Like, I want to take some boxing classes because I just
Mm,
want to do it. You know,
okay.
I'm just not, I don't want to wear dresses. Like, don't
Right.
ask me to wear a dress. Like, I will, but
So
I
you
just
will.
don't want to be forced into that. Like, don't force me into doing it. And if I'm wearing a dress, I'm putting sneakers on. I don't want to put on those heels
Right.
and stuff like that. Like, I'm still not, I'm
Right.
not a girly girl. I don't
Right.
want to do it. And I'll put the makeup on. I think I'm slowly going back over to that side.
Uh-huh.
But that's one of the things I think that shock people when I come in and I'm like, yeah, I got on jeans, sneakers. I don't want to
Right.
wear a dress. Or if I have a dress on, I'm putting sneakers on with my dress.
Right.
It could
Right.
be a ball gown. I got on sneakers. Like, I'm not doing it.
So you ain't doing it. It's just man, that's great, you know. And I always tell people something about me they don't know about me. I've said a couple of things on my podcast before they know about, but I've always said I don't like stupid people because you ever be talking to somebody, you be like, "Did he just say that? Or did that person just say this?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
then at that moment, I'm saying it back, my man, I got to say something to get out of this conversation, get away from him before I say something that this stupid person is not going to understand because he's already an idiot.
Right.
I don't like talking stupid. Not you got to be super intelligent talk to me. but damn, have some common sense.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I'm a comedian, but damn it, I do have some. I don't have no IQ off the charts, but you know, that's like Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg, a lot of people don't know Snoop Dogg got one of the highest IQs, and he's probably one of them type of people too. Don't like talk to stupid people. It's just like, and it's nothing against nobody, but if you come up to me talking stupid, I'm gonna try to go to another direction. This light skinned body can go a different direction because I don't have time for that.
Right.
So that's just one thing about me. Okay, with that said, you know what? I'm gonna get you out of here because I know you got other things to do, and I appreciate you, Brandon. But before you go, though, you have got to put out there everything you're doing, your podcast, your Swallow Ice, which I've already had some through social media. You don't even know it.
So look, I said, let me take this brush. I get ready to tell y'all what I do.
You're right.
Yes. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate doing this with you. Because we've never talked before, so this is nice.
Thank you. That is beautiful. People, you know what? People are looking at us like they really know each other. No, we don't know. We just met each other, but that's how my personality is and your personality is. So it's beautiful.
And you know what? I think I want to say that too. I think that's one of the beautiful things about comedians as well. Like we don't do all of that dumb stuff. It's like we either mess with you or we don't. That's you know what I'm saying? And we can work together. And it's like you meet a new coworker. Every show you do, you might meet a new coworker. Right. And it's starting a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So I love that about comedy.
I do too. I love it too.
What do? I have 3 rooms right now in the Gwinnett area. Okay. Every third Saturday of the month, I am in Decula, Georgia at Eddie's Place. Every first Thursday of the month, I am at the Escovich's Event Center. Okay, every Wednesday, third or fourth Wednesday, that can go either way depending on the Wednesday. I am at Empire Lounge every third or fourth Wednesday, and that's in Snellville, Georgia. And all of my rooms are paid rooms. So when people ask me like, can I come up there? Can you book me or whatever? I can, but yes, I want you to support the room as well. Don't just come up because you're getting a check, So that's the thing I want people to understand as well. Like, come up. You can come up, do a guest spot. Let me see how much interest you have in this room for real. That's support me. So that's the 3 rooms. Then from that, like I said, I work my regular 9 to 5. I'm an IT person. So, kind of a brainiac. But then I have my 360 photo booth business. I have some partners in that. So, hey, shout out to them. But it's called 5 Photos. Y'all can follow that page, FYEFOTOS, 5 Photos. I do that. And then I have my Italian ice business, and that's called Swallows. And people were like, Swallows? Like, yo, how else I'm going to get it in your system if you don't swallow it? Swallow it, So also that's called Swallows Italian Ice, and that's on Instagram and Facebook as well. And there's me, my personal page, Alicia Coley, ALISHA, Coley, COLEY. And that's what I do. And I just want to, make sure. And I'm thinking about getting into life coaching because I've been thinking about that for a while. So hopefully that's going to come soon because I got some stuff to tell people that might help them out for their future so they can be happy and live in peace.
Oh, okay. Coaching. That's great. But see, I'm kind of glad you're telling me about these rooms and everything because not only for myself, but I know like right here now, I do my podcast and I got shows where I ain't been doing those stand-up.
Oh, wait. I forgot to say podcast.
You got a podcast and you didn't even put that out there.
I forgot to say that. If they're listening, they would kick my butt. The Kickback Podcast with Gerard J and R&B singer Case. We do that every Wednesday at 9:00. So it's called the Kickback Podcast, and on Instagram it's the Kickback P. So
I need to check it out too. Maybe you can send it to me through chat message, whatever it's sent. I need to check it out and put it on my page because I will support whatever you're doing. I'm even going to put some of your flyers on there, even though I'm way here in Kentucky. That don't mean somebody from Louisville might not be going to Atlanta and come slide through your room. I'm all about support. I told you that before. It's just where I roll. So,
and I need to come to where you are. I need to do that scene.
It's all right. The Louisville scene it's great. It's up and coming, but it ain't like Atlanta. I'm going to be honest. And I got people here, production here that they always going to Atlanta to do shows. He's got his own clothing line and everything. He's going to Atlanta to do a show called Streetway Entertainment. He's always, matter of fact, him and a couple of other comedians. He runs the whole thing. Street does where they go to Atlanta once every 2 weeks and everything and do shows down there and come back to Louisville. So, but
tell them to hit me up if they funny. Hit me up.
And that's what I was thinking about. So I'm gonna let them know. I'm definitely gonna let them know. I'm gonna put you on page. I'm definitely gonna let them know about you because that way they can be seen even more. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it's all about being seen and helping comedians. So if you can, and if they want to be helped, because I know some comedians say they want to be helped, but that's a totally different story when you come to them. So,
Yeah,
but with
all you
that
gotta
said,
do is tell me. Like, if they're
yeah,
funny, and this is what I do too. If I don't know the comedian, if I've never seen them before, I just ask for like 5 minutes. And I don't even have to watch the whole 5 minutes. I'll say, like, give me something. You know what I'm saying? Give me
right,
a 5 minute clip. I can tell where I can place them in my show. Like, my shows are a buildup from, and what I think isn't, and I know funny is subjective because everybody don't funny the same. You
that's
know what I'm
true.
saying? So I know that I just want to know like where I can place the person at. So if it's opener, the feature, the headliner, I need to know how much time you got, how
Right.
funny you are, but I need to see you because I need to see like, are you how active you are, like how do you perform? Are you
Mm-hmm.
moving around? Are you just a standing like a stand-up comedian? Or do you like to sit there? I want to see that. You know what I'm saying? So I know where to place people on my shows.
I've seen some of your shows where you've put them on your page. Just a snippet of it. I've seen some of it because you put snippets
Yeah.
on there, and I've seen your room. Oh, it's a nice room. I can just tell by the environment. It's a nice room. And with
Yeah.
that said, if you're a comedian, if you're a comedian, you know how to deliver. It's on. I mean, I know I could kill that room. It ain't a question. But long story short, if you're a comedian, you do what you got to do. And I like your rooms. I've seen them,
Yeah.
so I
Well, come
definitely
on
would.
down and do some time.
Oh, you know I will. I'm gonna have to make it down to Atlanta. I'm gonna have to make it down there. I just got so many hats going on. Matter of fact, I'm getting ready to start my. I did a show last year here called Louder Than Laughter because they have Louder Than Life
Hmm.
every year here in Louisville, September 24th. But I did a show called Louder Than Laughter here, and it was the first time I done it. I didn't do it this year because of other things I got going on. But when I say Alicia, and I'm not too my own horn, had 100 some people there. And all the
Right.
comedians, what I do, I kind of do old school shows here. I do them every 2 or 3 months. And what I do is old school. What I mean by old school is I might give the comedians 20 tickets at a certain price, and they have to sell all of them. And I might only want a little small smidget off of it, a small smidget they have to give me, but
Hmm.
they gonna get a big load of money. And they want whoever, and I tell people to do my shows. If you can't sell tickets, they ain't the show for you. So I usually get comedians who like to sell tickets, and they always sell out. And these
Good.
comedians are making. I'm just gonna just let you know off the top, anywhere from $100 to $300 just to do 7 minutes. And
Yeah.
most of these comedians anywhere from 3 to 10 years doing it, whatever the case may be, and they love it because I'm giving it. They're getting their money up front. You know what I'm saying? So when they come to
That's
perform,
always good.
comedians feel better before the stage. They got their money up front. And my
Yeah.
I was just talking to my guy here who runs the show here, who's allowing me to do all this different stuff. I told him, I said, I want to put on a real big show here. And he said he might have open date for me in November. So, and this is why I do my podcast. And I like talking to comedians or whatever. So you never know. I might holler at you to come down. But I know, see, with for people like you, I'm not going to want you to sell tickets because you don't. I usually look at people who's only been doing it that long here in Louisville. I don't get
Mhm.
seasoned comedians who's been, doing it for a while. So it's just all about who you pick and choose, like for my show. So
Right.
with that said, I just know that's just the way my shows. And it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful thing because it all comes together. I'm like, man, after every show, I get so much love, not only from the comedians, but the fans. And that's what's so
Good.
important to me. Like, man, we love your shows. Because here's the thing. They said, first of all, it's not expensive. Second of all, that everybody was funny. And third, more
Mhm.
than anything, like, man, I got drunk and got to eat. Man, I love your shows. I said, yeah. So, that's why all people want to do is come out and have a good time. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so, but
Let me know.
I definitely will. With that said, I appreciate having you on my show. I definitely got to get down to Atlanta, check out one of your rooms. If I ain't even got to perform, I'm the type of person I just want to come and check. That's like I was looking at Corey
Well,
Holcomb.
listen, if you're coming down, you can perform and I will
I
pay
ain't got to
you.
perform
I
because
said it
see,
here. Like,
yeah,
listen.
and see, that's like Corey Holcomb was talking because he was him and Earthquake got into it. And I was looking at it on his podcast. That's a whole other thing. But look it up, Corey Holcomb and Earthquake. But anyway, he was talking about how he's from Chicago and how he went to check out Dion Cole's show one time, and because they came up together in the rings. And he said I wouldn't even. He said he gave me tickets. I sit up down on the front row, and he pointed me out and everything. He told me to come back to the green room. I showed. He said I appreciate all the love he gave me. He said I didn't mess up his green room like somebody did mine because he was talking about Earthquake messed up his green room. But long story short, that's why I am. If I come to your show, and he said I was even gonna pay to get it. That's why I am. I support people. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
me
Because I
too.
want people to come support me when it's just
And people
So
shouldn't automatically assume free. You know what I
thank
mean?
you.
Like, this is a business.
Thank you. Exactly. It's a business. Some people don't see it like that. They think, oh man,
Right.
what can I get? Can you give me? No, I can't give you nothing. If you want to come
Right.
to the show, pay everybody like everybody else. That's just the way it is. So
Right.
with that said, I really appreciate having you. I'm glad I got to have this one-on-one with you. I'm definitely going to, please send me your podcast. Check it out. I'm going to put some of your flyers on my page. I believe in supporting people, like I said earlier. And if you got anything else you want to say before we get out of here on this Big A Light Skin Comedian podcast?
No, I don't really have too much I want to say, but I will say this. Make sure y'all continue to support live comedy and also support this podcast right here.
I appreciate that. Yes, subscribe on YouTube, because I'm on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Pocket Cast. And I was just telling him I'm trying to work my way on the iHeart Radio. So, and I've been doing this for about 2 years, this podcast. So it's my little baby, and I'm nurturing it, and it's steadily growing in its own way. But I love it, and I love doing it. And I love it because how I can help the people out there. My podcast is about having a good time, make people laugh too along the way with my podcast, and meeting great people like you, So that's what's up more than anything. But continue being comedian Alicia Coley. I'll make sure I pronounce it right. Alicia Coley. Continue being there. Please continue being there, because I love your smile. I just love your persona.
Look, I paid for these teeth. They better love it.
Yeah, I paid for these teeth. Oh man, I love it. And I love seeing people smile and enjoying life, because that's the best thing for the soul is laughter. Like I tell people on my show before they leave, I said, if nothing else, you've laughed, you forgot about your bills, you forgot about your problems, and your heart feel good in a laughter way. That's what I'm about. But enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for being on my podcast, and continue to do big things. I'll be watching from near and far. And as soon as I get down to Atlanta, I'm definitely going to hit you up via social media. So I know your social media buzz. And I want to say this real quick. I loved your video the other day with your daughter at the burger place. You was at a burger place or something. Was it you at a burger place with your daughter? Was it? I think you. I
don't even know. Like, which video?
It was a video.
What video?
You said it was raining there. I think it was raining somewhere, and you did a video with your daughter. Did you do a video with your daughter somewhere when you went out to eat somewhere?
With the lady with the pamper butt lady.
Say what now?
The pamper butt lady.
No, I wasn't that. I think you and it was your daughter. Y'all was somewhere eating, and you said she didn't even want to be on video or something. Do you know what I'm talking about? Y'all was somewhere.
It was in Red Robin, yes.
There it is. I was like, because your facial expressions and everything, and she was like, "Mama, really?" She gave it look like, "Mama, really? You the comedian? Leave me alone." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was laughing at that. I was like, "Oh, that's nice, though."
Yeah. I spend time with them babies.
Yeah, and that's good. Me and my daughter, we spend time together too, even though she thinks she's too big for daddy then, because she's 21, 22. But you know how that goes.
You're boring right now.
Yeah, I'm boring. Yeah, but I'm always gonna be that daddy's little girl. She's always. I don't care how old she is, because I got to watch for these vultures. There's some vultures out here. So, but yeah, continue doing what you're doing, and just be Alicia. And I love you for that. And hopefully we can do this again. If nothing else, like I said, once I get down to Atlanta, I'm definitely gonna look you up. I know a lot of people, but I'm definitely gonna look you up because I like what you're doing. So,
thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. And thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Thank you. You have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. I got to give a big shout out to my one and only. I just love this guy there today. Happy heavenly birthday to Rico Loveless. I love you, man. I know you up in heaven making everybody laugh. I cannot forget the shows we've done together. And bruh, your presence is always around us and in the Streetway Entertainment Group. So like I said, happy heavenly birthday to you. Continue to watch the Big A Light Skin Comedian Podcast. My next podcast is October the 8th, 8 o'clock. Make sure y'all tune in. I'll be right here. Like I said, but if you want to listen to any of my podcasts, go to #Anchor, #Spotify, #Google Podcast, #Radio Public, #Pocket Cast, YouTube, and Big A Light Skin Comic Live. And here's Big Ed. I give Big Ed some love. And look, I always come down to the Borough Room and support them. I come even when I ain't doing my podcast. I just come down and have a drink and cut up and have fun. But they got pool tables, drinks, everything going. And tonight, like I said earlier, they got Rock for Kozar children. We got to do for the kids. Nothing else. Just $10 to get in. Hey, we might let you get in for $5 because it's for the kids. So, but please come down here and support that. It's a great thing. We got a nice little concert showcase in the back there. So, and with that said, make sure if you're doing nothing else, LSI. I love LSI. learn, share, and inspire, and be who you are. Hey, how you doing? Come here. Come here. Hey, come here. I'm about to end my podcast, but here's one of my female comedians that I had on one of my shows. Erwin, don't just wait. She's gonna wait. I'm gonna let y'all know who I am. FBI looking for me. Erwin Donald, comedian. Much love to her. She's fun. Make sure you check her out and go to her Facebook page. But thank you for tuning in to the Big LIC Comedian Podcast. And October 8th, I'll be here again. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page. Subscribe. And one more thing. I got my jersey on because it's football season starting tomorrow. And it's always Gold Steelers with me. Always. So I can't wait to see tomorrow. Hopefully we can have a good game against some Bengals. And y'all know I don't like the Cowboys. Never will. Go Cowgirls. But with that said, enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you for tuning in to the one and only Big LIC Comedian Podcast. I'll see y'all October 8th. Thank you for tuning in. Love y'all.